Tucked away in the arid sands of Eastern Thanalan lays a cavernous theater and maze. Acting as training grounds, periodic jail, and a host to a menagerie of beasts, it is a place of conflict, growth, and struggle. Halatali is a fighting pit built in the caverns beneath a desert mesa for the express purpose of training gladiators to fight on the blood sands of ul'dah's Coliseum. Sparing no expense, its construction began just shy of a century ago in 1481 of the 6th Astral Era, under the orders of the Coliseum Foundation, with the backing from the wealthy of ul'dah. Its name meaning place of many shadows in the ancient tongue of the Lalafell, Halatali was originally a holy place for some of the earliest of their folk who arrived on Eorzean, and acted many years later as a sanctuary by those of Mach, who became the Dunesfolk and founders of Belladia, its twisting labyrinths providing excellent shelter from the elements. The Pugilist Guild of ul'dah worked for many moons to transform this natural formation into the facility we see today. In a bid to furnish ul'dah with the skilled fighters it needs to accommodate the ever-growing popularity of the Coliseum. Home to all sorts of mechanical contraptions and a collection of many creatures from across Eorzean. Before the 7th Umbral Calamity, it acted as a top-of-the-line facility for those wishing to hone their blade and test their mettle. In the chaos following the fall of Dalamud, the facility was abandoned and sealed off. Its creatures left to fend for themselves, a fate little different from the ones offered the Hecaton Kyries of Copperbell. 5 years later, in the waning days of the 7th Umbral Era, as things began to stabilize, the Coliseum Foundation sent a survey team to unseal and examine the facility in hopes of resuming its operation. To their surprise and horror, many of the creatures who had been thought to have perished long ago instead prowled the halls. What ones remained had grown inordinately strong and savage through a bitter contest of the survival of the fittest. Even the aether of those who perished remained, shadowing the halls of Halatali. Unable to contend with these dangers, the team turned to their standard method of dealing with such situations, hiring adventurers to flush out the threats within. After succeeding in their endeavor, extensive renovations were initiated, and as the 7th Astral Era began, Halatali became open for use once again, acting as yet one more beacon of revival across Eorzean. Halatali, now open for its intended purpose, saw a flood of gladiators into its halls. Still plagued by the occasional overlooked creature, the brass blades have offered their aid to clear out the pits, and continue to refurbish the arenas. Its halls echoing once more with the familiar clang of steel and renewed stock of creatures, the Coliseum's proprietors have reached out to adventurers across the land to invite stronger opposition for the would-be champions of the Blood Sands. All walks of life have wandered the halls of Halatali, and the din of combat and gnashing of fangs are as natural to it as the echoes of winds passing through its caverns. Thanalan is home to a complicated history mired in blood and sand, but the fierce competition found here can be more than just conflict of pain. It can also be a sign of life's willingness and eagerness to carry on. This content was brought to you by the Eorzean Archives. If you enjoyed this video, help us please the 12 by leaving a like and subscribing for new content every Thursday, and comment down below with any topic you'd like to see our archons cover in the future. For even more content, discussion, and exclusives, please check out our Discord and consider supporting us on Patreon.